Foundation agreed not to take money from foreign governments while Clinton was Secretary of State. The Wall Street Journal discovered, though, that the money kept flowing from individuals with connections to their own governments, including members of the Saudi royal family. All told, foreign donors gave between $34 and $68 million to the foundation after 2009.
This is turning into a big story. Tucker Carlson is editor of The Daily Caller and co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. Tucker, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Martha.
All right. So when you take a look at this, as the head of the Department of State, Secretary of State, she stopped taking money from foreign countries during the period of 2009 to 2013.
Right.
But money still flowed in from people who were pretty closely connected to those governments, right?
Right. Oh, and a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars. And to some extent, it's a distinction without a difference. So if the Clinton, and let me just preface this by saying these records are not fully complete. They were given over to the Wall Street Journal by the Clinton Foundation, and there's apparently a lot missing from them, like dates, for example. But from what we know now, there doesn't seem to be much of a difference between, say, accepting money from the government of Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and accepting money from a key member of the royal family. It's just not a meaningful distinction. Same with China, for example. No government, the government of China did not directly contribute to the Clinton Foundation during that period, but a government official who owns a construction company did. So it's not a meaningful difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing to remember here. In so many of these countries, you can be a member of parliament, a member of the Congress, and run the largest construction company that does a ton of government business all at the same time. So these countries have very different rules about members of their government being involved in sometimes state-owned or partly state-owned entities and giving those contributions. So that's why this is so fuzzy, as you accurately point out. But let's take a look at the statement that came in from the Clinton Global Initiative, which now bears the names of Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea, and see what their response to this is. Like other global charities and non-governmental organizations, the Clinton Foundation receives support from individuals all over the world because our programs are improving the lives of millions of people around the globe. Well, you know, that's a valid point, is it not, Tucker? I mean, this has been President Clinton's mission since he left office, to raise money for development and education and all sorts of positive things in all of these countries. So why wouldn't they take money from those countries to do those things?
Well, what the Clinton Foundation actually does is an entirely separate story. The New York Times, of all places, did a pretty interesting series on this a couple of years ago. But I don't think you'll find a single person anywhere who would argue that the most effective way to help the poor is to give money to the Clinton Foundation. It's not to say they don't do good, but there are clearly a lot of other options for people who care about raising the poor out of poverty. The key distinction with the Clinton Foundation is the people who run it are in positions of profound influence, and one of them was in charge of America's foreign policy. So it's very hard to believe that, for example, a key Chinese businessman / member of the ruling government in China is giving money to the Clinton Foundation simply because he wants to, raise the status of women in West Africa. I mean, it's not possible to believe that.
All right. So everything that has been laid out here is understandable to raise questions. But the next point that would need to be made is a tie between any sort of favorable treatment that was given to that country or any kind of policy that was initiated because that donation was made. And that, I think, Tucker, is where they're going to have a hard time.
Well, ask yourself, is it believable that rich people in Algeria or Saudi Arabia or the Emirates are so concerned about the status of women, they're so profoundly feminist, that they want to give money to the Clinton Foundation to elevate the status of women worldwide? The Saudis want that? I mean, that's insane. Of course, that just didn't happen. There clearly is another agenda. Whether you can prove it is another question.
You have a close relationship with Prince Turki, who went to Georgetown with Bill Clinton. So there you go. Tucker, thank you very much. Good to see you as always. You bet.